now? How about now? Mic testing 1 2 3. You guys better hear me now. I think it looks like it says it's fixed. Yes. All right. There you go. W's in the chat. Now hit that like button. Perfect. Put that like button. Hit that subscribe button. That's what I was kind of yelling. So YouTube didn't want me to say that. Crazy market today. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. It's just insane market, insane downside move, insane close after that catalyst news from Trump, and oh my God, like such a crazy session. I can't believe it. It's a crazy session, and tomorrow is going to be the most difficult session of the week, uh, and hopefully we can get some good trades tomorrow. But before we get started, I just want to see if everything's good. You guys can see my screen and hear me well, right? Okay. All right. Everything else is good. Okay. We can go ahead and get started, guys. All right. What's the time now? 6:03. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started, guys. So first up, let me just review the SPY trade that we did. Okay. So market opened pretty much into that 670, 680, right, at the open. And I'm just going to go to the 5-minute chart. It's a little bit easier for you guys to follow. Okay. So this was the market, right? So we had what did happen yesterday? Everyone, there was a whole lot of consolidation, but then the area that we shorted became the highs, and pretty much, like I said, the liquid tape. If we're going to start selling, we will sell, and eventually we did go and break 680, 679, 678, 677, and pre-market today we pop all the way to 675-ish. Okay, so pretty much market was in a downward spiral. But then what happened? Pre-market, we had some data come in. We also had our talk around some trade deal development. We also had some positive talks around maybe we're not going to, this thing with the Greenland thing is not going to escalate. Okay, so market liked that news. There was some sectors that were strong, like chips. So market pretty much gapped into the open, and we kind of broke 680 pre-market, and then dropped, and then we basically just pivoted off of this pre-market level here. Okay, and then first 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes, nothing happened. Even if you did take longs, I mean, like you pretty much just gambling into a rally, and if you did, you made money. The first sign of test, this is where we shorted here, 680, 250-ish area. I think we made like 15%, and the second trade I sold early, which ended up doing 30%. And the second shot that I did here, this failure here, ended up green, but then we had to sell for I think minus 5%. Okay, but throughout this upside move, what do you guys notice? Now this is what I wanted to teach you guys today. Okay, now you guys don't know how to read the tape, so I can't help you that unless you guys learn from me in my mentorship. But when you see cohesive moves like this, right? So in this case, you see this is as a trending move. But the problem with this move here is this has happened during an illiquid time. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. You guys see this move happening here, right? I'm drawing this here. Okay, this move was a free-flowing move. Okay, so you can kind of expect this move to the supply to also be a free-flowing move. Okay, so if free gap down from here, just EMAing down, the move up is also going to be similar. Now this is why I said this 680 to 50 area, you guys can see this. This is the pivotal area here from the previous day. If we don't fail 680 to 50, 683, we're going to go to 685, 686. Okay. Now this is exactly why I shorted where I shorted, and it did work until it finally decided to rally up again. Okay. Now this cohesive move did not involve any consolidation. There was no consolidation during this time. It was pretty much just squeeze covering. Okay, so whoever shorted here, they're just covering into this move. Now, if you guys remember on live, what did I tell you? The moment we start selling, okay, we break 680, 350, 680 to 50, we're definitely going to fail 680. Okay. Now I said this. The reason I said this is because there was not going to be any liquidity in these EMAs and all those like cute little, like there's no squeeze, there's none of that stuff, right? This is all liquid move. What goes up can easily come back down because there is no built up short pressure. Whoever shorted here, they've made their money, and on this rally up, it's a covering rally. Okay, it's a covering rally. So that means there's not a lot of actual buyers in the tape. Okay, can you guys hear me? Just doing a little audio check. Put a yes if you can hear me. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me before I continue. Yes? Okay. All right. So this is a covering rally, meaning there's not a lot of real buying. No one in their sane mind is going to buy us while, think about it, we're trying to talk about like invading Greenland and stuff like that. No one sends buying right now. Okay, so this short happened here. This is the covering move, meaning the profit taking is happening here for short sellers. Okay, but then what happened once we hit into this previous supply area, we again did a false break here. Same area where I shorted yesterday. We failed. EMA broke. It is just literally nothing under. Like nothing under. We broke 683.50, which is where I previously shorted. This was our entry. I mean, if you guys shorted, this is where the entry was. And pretty much just liquidated. Then 682.50 is the second level. Again, liquidated that. What is this? 681.50, liquidated that. 681, liquidated that. 680, liquidated that. 679. Basically, we came back to that SPX, I don't know what level, 6800 maybe. This level here, 678 area. And that's where we bounced. And then what happened? We kept popping and popping. 681 kept becoming supply. And then Mr. Trump and Baron Trump probably loaded all those calls at that time. All the guys, his buddies, everyone loaded calls. You guys saw the imprint, the misprint came in this on YouTube, on Twitter. If you guys saw that, the big prints coming in, right? And big news popped up. And again, you can't do anything. This is an illiquid move, right? So you're not going to have any resistance here. So people who shorted here again after seeing this failure, they all got squeezed out here. Okay, so this was the first short attempt. This was the covering rally, which was a reshort confirmation. And once we broke this VWAP here, 681, it looked like lights out and we're heading towards 675. But then they held their guns. This was the bear flag that was happening, and then they dropped the news, squeezing everyone, right? So tomorrow, again, if you're going to be longing in, there's a gap fill play. I was talking about this on live today, right? So you guys can see this. We're almost full the gap here. So tomorrow game plan would probably be like break over this highs. Again, the first time probably it's going to be a false break or something like that. Now tomorrow, watch, everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm going to short the market. It's trade momentum. Tomorrow if we rally, it's likely going to be a momentum move because everyone that shorted here, everyone that shorted here, everyone that shorted here is all going to be under pressure if we break highs tomorrow. Now that said, we gapped up before market close. Okay, now hear me out on this. We gapped up before market close, so everyone that wants supposed to cover has covered. Now tomorrow, for some reason, we go and break the 683.50 again. Okay, we are again into the same low volume area. Okay, low liquidity area. So it's going to be a quick sell. Now pre-market, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if there's going to be any news overnight. So tomorrow we have to kind of pray and hope, if you're along, that we hold these current levels. But if we do get back under the 683.50, it's going to be a short again. And the next time around, I don't think 678, 679 or 680 is going to hold. Okay, so it's going to be a Wim session tomorrow. I don't know. Today I was kind of confident we were going to sell after watching the opening tape. And towards the close, I was kind of surprised to see that news happen and close. Tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen. So that's the whole market right now. So this liquidation area kind of showed everyone's hands, their market makers, whatever they're trying. Short here, reconfirm short here, and then the Trump squeeze news here. So tomorrow, if they invert this move here again, it's going to be a confirmation of downturn. Yeah, GDP news. I mean, I don't think GDP will make much of a dent on this, but if something around the trade deal or this thing with Greenland or anything around I don't know, Russia, Ukraine, or China, Taiwan, or something like that happens. Because the one thing that's kind of dubious is today's session is the crazy chip strength, right? Chips have been selling off, so today's rally is not really that crazy. I mean, like, I'm talking about these names. NVIDIA wasn't really the strong. NVIDIA is probably one of the weaker names. AMD, MU, these are all like kind of looking crazy. 8%, 7%, 12%. This is like unreal strength on some of these chip names. So tomorrow we're going to see if there's actual truth in the strength, or if we're going to get continuation. NVIDIA, if it breaks 184, it's going to be a squeeze, right? So we have to see if that happens tomorrow, and there's going to be a participating legs in this rally. Okay. Okay, all right. Let's see some questions, and then I will talk about the how to trade different tickers. Price is shown, mentorship like not working. Yeah, it's in my Instagram bio, guys, or it's in the YouTube description bio. Tomorrow's the class starting though, so unless there's one spot remaining. If you guys can make it, you can apply now, and I'll reply as soon as I can. But tomorrow evening class starts, so if you miss out, you probably have to wait a couple of months, okay, for the mentorship I'm talking about. All right, so let's talk about individual tickers, okay? I'm going to teach you guys Meta first. It's one of my favorite tickers. Again, look at how beautiful the chart is. This is a 5-minute chart, but look at how crazy it works, right? So the one thing I will give you an advice on Meta for starters, I like to do all of my plotting in the 4-hour time frame. Okay. The reason is there's a few reasons for it. Meta is not a $100 stock. Meta is not a $200 stock. Meta is a $700 stock, $600 stock. And I don't know if you guys are used to trading stocks when they're that big, but if you've traded Tesla in the past, or if you've traded Amazon in the past, or even Nvidia in the past, you guys know that these kind of stocks when they're in that kind of market structure, right? They are not just going to make a couple of dollar moves. Okay, they are going to have wide ranges, give or take for $5 to $20 could be the average daily range for these stocks. Okay, on a very flat day, maybe they'll chop between $5 to $7, but on a very good day, so today, for example, 600 was the low on Meta, 618 was the high. Okay, now tomorrow, I mean, I don't want to talk ahead, right? But if I were to show you guys how to plot levels, so let me draw a little diagram for you guys. Okay, so this is the 4-hour consolidation. You see 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 hours of consolidation that's happening here. Okay, now the way I would like to look at plays for Meta is you would need at least 2 to 3 days of consolidation for big moves to happen. Okay, now if you're a typical retail-esque trader, you probably draw a level here. This is the level here, 610. Okay, now if I'm going to go to the hourly chart, I'll show you what happened. Okay, now this particular day, this was, I think, today, right? Is it today? Yes, today. Okay, so this is level here, 610. 600 level has been respecting here pre-market. Now today I wanted to take Meta longs, but I didn't take it because I was kind of seeing a weakness in SPY step. That's why I didn't take it. 610 is the obvious breakout level, right? If you guys are charting Meta on a normal just charting perspective, right? You'll chart this, but then what you will get into 612, let's say you get in on the perfect momentum move, you are not taking into consideration the overhead supply that it has here. Okay, so this was a previous support, turned resistance, and then we had a failure here. So obviously there's going to be overhead resistance here. Now this is the kind of days where I would not try to take a breakout on Meta. Okay, why? Because if I enter at 610, next level is 615, 612, whatever this is, 614, whatever. So I'm only going to be able to catch Meta for a $3-4 move before maybe it sells. If it does sell, maybe it liquidates 610 and becomes a false breakout. Okay, so the only time I want to trade Meta or a name like Meta is if in this situation, where can I take Meta? So you can take Meta here, 610. If it fails initially, the second time around when it breaks this 610 here, then I can take this Meta here. Why? Because 615 already showed its hand. So the next time around it breaks, there's a higher probability that it breaks through. Okay, the rule number one is if you are going to trade Meta or anything like Meta, make sure there's no big overhead supply or demand that's close to your current level. Okay, so if I'm taking a 610 breakout, I don't wanna take this breakout here because there's 615 another supply, and also this is a downtrending name. Okay, this is a downtrending name. It's been selling a lot, so the first sign of resistance is always going to be crushed. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Put a yes if you're following. There's going to be a little lag in the YouTube, but I want to make sure you guys get this first point, right? Every day is not going to be a Meta day. This is why when some people try to take Meta on certain days, I don't take Meta, right? It's you just need to know the stock, and honestly, if you don't know how to read the tape on these kinds of names, you are going to get crushed. Okay, not every day is going to be a day, and usually when a day, sometimes it'll be like, hey, it's really looking nice. Those are the days you have to be really, really careful, because when something is looking too good to be true, it's probably not going to be a good setup. Okay, when there's like huge catalysts and everyone's like watching this, right? Today same thing, right? Market looks like, oh wow, it's a nasty squeeze and whatnot, but then what happened, right? The tape clearly showed its hand, right? You started selling and then there's like literally no bounce, no nothing. Like if you're long into that first sell, it would have been like a catastrophe for you, right? So you got to be very, very careful. It's not about how much you make, 10%, 15%. You got to be making sure the risk reward, the trades that you're taking have good risk reward. And if you're wrong, you're not being wrong like crazy, right? But today the only loss I took 5% loss, right? And it ended up being the right trade idea, which ended up doing 400, 500%. I saw a lot of you made money on that. Okay, so when can you take meta here? Okay, I'm going to switch to the little bit of an intraday time frame. I'm going to switch to a 10-minute time frame here, right? Now you guys have seen me take reclaim trades so many times. Okay, you guys have seen me take reclaim trades so many times. You guys can see these levels here. I'm just going to plot it here. Okay, so morning we rallied. When SPY rallied, meta also rallied with it. We kind of wicked off of the 615 area, which is coincidentally where SPY was also topping out previous day's supply. Okay, when SPY sold, meta also sold with it. Okay, but then what happened? It came back down, tested the 606 area. Now normally you didn't know if SPY was going to get that catalytic news, so you don't know. So when SPY had that little bear flag, meta also topped out with it. Okay, now if SPY didn't have that catalyst, once it broke the 606, you could have shorted meta again, and what would have happened next time? You would have had a nice continuation into 600. Now if 600 break, this thing capitulates another $10 under. Okay, so as a short setup, now regardless of what happens, like I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but if this level breaks tomorrow, right, this is kind of where is going to be the most recent stops, right? So if this level breaks tomorrow, next logical support is 600. So if you want an early entry or something like that on meta, find out where logical stops are going to be for longs. Okay, so if you're a long today, let's say even you long here as an equity 610, you're probably not having $3 or $4 stops here. Okay, so if you're a long here, you're going to have logical stops here. So if this breaks, technically the next range below is 600. 600 breaks, it's going to, I don't know, like probably drop $10 more under. Okay, yes guys, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button on those streams, and I'll continue. So for a long setup today, you wait for this consolidation, and let's say SPY, you did see that catalyst coming. This is exactly where you would long at this area here. Once it goes through the claim, again it's a data candle. Trump says that news, you're not going to be able to catch it, but the retest, again you guys can see this popped up right here. Okay, so you have to kind of watch what the ranges are for meta. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout moves are going to be. You guys have seen me short meta last few weeks. I think it was a Friday. Last Friday I shot at meta. Who remembers that? Where did I shot it? 620, right? This year 627, 628. This is where I shot at meta on Friday, 0 DTs. Okay. Now why did I shot this trade on Friday? Take a look at this. We had a bounce off of 615 here. This is the day I longed it. I think it was Thursday. Last Thursday I longed it. And this was because, again, we reclaimed previous 4-hour structure. We longed it here. We popped up higher. But this is the first time around we're testing this area here again, 627, 628. Now, everyone at that time, I'm going to go to the 5-minute chart. It's a little easier, guys. Okay. I'm going to go here. This was, I think this was Tuesday. This was Friday. Okay. Now, everyone in the morning session at that time was bullish, right? And we had like a little pop-up happening. Okay. So this Friday session, look at this big pop here, EMA test, pop up again. But then if you saw the 4-hour time frame, this was the first time around it's texting it, right? So if you're a traditional trader, you're trading, hey, previous day's high is broken out, 624. This is a breakout trade, first initial rejection. We had a break and retest. This is a safe long. Okay. If you guys remember that 625 level, who remembers that from Friday? I said, hey, once that breaks, we're going to flush, right? So 625 is a very obvious level to go long on. Okay. And the way the market makers will get you on these kind of things is they'll let it hold. They'll keep it, they'll hold it the first time around to make it a little cool. And then we broke over highs. Now, this is the first time around we're breaking out. So the idea is Meta as a $600, $700 name is not going to have enough juice to keep continuing into a downtrending move unless it has some kind of short pressure. Okay. Again, this is a concept you may not understand, but you have to understand this, if you're going to trade these kinds of names. Okay. So the first time around when it breaks out, expect a failure. Okay. You have to expect a failure, and the timing on this, if you shorted Meta when I shorted the market at the same time, you would have made money that day, right? The same concept that applies to Meta appears to SPY also. First time breaking around, first time obvious setup that goes, expect failure. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. Meta started failing the previous highs, and this is exactly where I shorted. The first scalp, I don't remember how much it did, 0 DTs, maybe 25% or something like that. The second time when it popped, I shorted again, and that's when it started moving along. I think at 620-ish, it almost did 100%, I believe. And that was the trade. End of day, again, just like a whole lot of drama, popping again, and then eventually couldn't break highs again. This was the secondary shot that it gave us. Same level, couldn't break highs. But this was a low liquidity move, right? So this move completely got engulfed in just three or four candles here. Okay, and then market gap down overnight. This is the first sign of this is the bounce that we did, I think, on Tuesday. I don't know remember how much we made, maybe 30% or something like that. I remember selling this early also, and then I switched to the SPY charts, which I ended up doing big numbers. I'm just gonna give you some quick time for questions, guys. Any questions on this so far? I will move to Tesla after this, so I can teach you Tesla. But I wanted to cover Meta and Tesla today, and then the next week I want to cover SPY specifically. Okay, I'll teach you how to teach SPY. How do you know what equity stops is? Okay, that is a very good question. Okay, now if you guys have ever traded equity, and I'm talking about short-term equity trading, okay, think about it, right? Meta is a name that's been selling for a while, and let me go to the close one. So 600 has been holding here. Okay, now anyone logical enough to want to buy Meta on a dead cat, they are going to say that, hey, I'm just going to use 600 as stop or 598 as stop or something like that. Okay, and the next hold on Meta here today was, I think, 606 or 608. I have to go to 5 minutes again. Okay, all right, here it is. So here is the 606. So once we popped up here, 606 is the opening range failure high here, test here. So in this situation, this is the last line of defense, and this is where we bounce stuff up. So if this breaks, everyone's trail stop is going to be here. Okay, so 600 longs, once the stock moves in their favor, and they're not going to just keep holding there. Okay, they're going to keep moving their stop. So 600 longs, once it tested 606, it bounced here. So they're going to say 603 is my stop, this previous day's low. Here, this one. There, this is going to be their stop. Once it moved above this high, they're saying this is my stop. Okay, again, that's where I have the red box here. So we popped up here again. Why did we bounce? Here. Why did we bounce here? Because this is where buy orders are queued. This is where stop losses are set. Okay, now tomorrow, if this thing pops, pay attention. I'm not doing crazy magic or anything like that. We popped up higher. Okay, so there's going to be two levels of stops here. This is the last line of defense. I'm just going to extend this. There's one level of stops here, but if we break here, there's always a chance that there could be a liquidity grab and pop up again. Okay, so this is going to be within the range. This is an untradable zone. All right, so if Meta pops up in this area here, I'm just going to this area, this gap here. Okay, it's not a tradable area, right? Don't trade it. So if it breaks here, it could liquidate this, but there could always be a big candle down here and then wick up again. Okay, this is where liquidity grabs can happen. But if we break this, that's one stop loss triggered. If it breaks this, that's another stop loss triggered. Now, people who are even more wider stops are going to have their stops here. Okay, but if you short here, there is a very, very slim chance that this previous day's low is going to hold, because 600 is so close. They're going to be scared. Okay, so they'll most likely flush through this, and then it's going to fail. So logical, high probability breakout area, right? If you want to get early entries and stuff like that, you have to enter here. Now, if you're going to be a traditional trader, you're going to be like, man, I'm waiting for 600 breakout. You'll see it in most traders' watch list and what like that, right? You're going to wait for that, and then if it does enter, and you'll enter the trade, and you'll get wicked out. Okay, this is why I don't like to trade like that. You can trade it. I mean, you'll eventually every breakout will work. It's just the first time around, you're not going to. If 600 hasn't broken yet, so if you wait for 600 breakdown, most likely you're going to get like the screwed around by market makers. They'll probably break it down. They'll give you a confirmation, and the next candle they'll rip it higher. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Do you guys understand the stop loss concept that I just said? Put a yes if you follow, and please like the video, guys, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, yes, perfect. Okay, this is the one concept you guys got to understand, guys. Okay, make sure when you're taking breakout trades, make sure that the levels, there are no big levels above or below. Okay, if you have only a $3 range, $4 range above or below, you're going to get screwed. Don't take a breakout trade in like that. If anything, wait for a breakout to happen, and then maybe a failure or something like that, because that's more likely to work out. Okay, again, it's not about bias, it's not about anything like that. It's about being on the right side of the trade. Okay, you can if you don't know how to read the tape, you just have to wait for confirmation, because you're just not going to know what is the real push and what is not. Okay, I'm just being very honest. It's not about, oh, I know this, you don't know that. It's pretty clear today. While everyone else is buying, why was I saying, guys, we're going to sell off? Why did I say that? Right, like if the containers, it looked like it was a massive squeeze, but why did I say that? Because there's nothing behind the tape to show that it was a real buy right at the open. You can sit and say that, hey, I got this, I got that, but at the end of the day, the real big money was made at the open when we sold off. And then if you're a Trump's cousin or Trump's inside circle, you made the money there, right? There's no way around it because you cannot expect that data move to happen. Okay, so just look for setups where you have edges. And Meta, not only Meta, any setup that you take, Tesla, let it be Tesla, let it be AMD, let it be Nvidia, you have to kind of figure out where more money can be made, long side or short side. Okay. Um, can you please go over sizing? If you, I will do it at another class. AS is related. Sizing is a completely different topic. Can you please go over? I mean, like I will just say this, right? Just it's all about risk, right? It's not about sizing. If I size $10,000 on a trade, and let's say my risk is 5 or 10%, then I'm risking $1,000 on the trade, or $500 to $1,000 on a trade. Okay, so the first time, let's say I don't know exactly what my risk is. That's why I'm very close to I have a quick sell quickly. If usually when I'm right about something, it'll go quickly, right? I want to do something, and I truly believe what I want to happen will happen. If it doesn't, then I will have to try again, right? I'll stop out and I'll quickly try again. Okay, and sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you won't be right, and when you're not right, just take that small loss, right? I know a lot of people just kept holding and averaging down and whatnot today and still ended up tagging me in 400% gains. But just don't do that, right? You guys did that yesterday also, I believe, in SPY, right? And the other day you guys did it on Meta. Just don't do that, because the one time I can be wrong too. The one time I'm wrong, you're going to take a hit. Okay, you don't want to rely on just blind faith to follow anything. You can be right 100 times, but the one time you're wrong and you don't have discipline, you can lose money. Okay, and all right, so that's Meta. Okay, I'm looking at time 6:30. Okay, let's look at Tesla. Tesla is very similar. That's why I kind of trade. Look at how they're moving, right? The same algos that run Meta run Tesla for the most times. Okay, look at how the same kind of candles on Meta. Let me do a parallel. Like, in fact, today this thing was a little bit stronger. Why did you think I loaded Tesla and Tesla today, right? Because the same thing. It was going to like do the same kind of thing. Initial sell move, just like SPY, popped up, came back to 430. This is where SPY sold out. SPY sold out, man. So did what is this? Tesla. Tesla again bubble bounced over 420. This was supposed to be the bear flag retest here, right? 425. Now, if news didn't happen, this 425 would have been a failure. And the next time we broke 420, it would have been a massive sell. But instead, what happened? We got that data, and then we broke high of day. Now this becomes a squeeze, right? Why did we completely rip? Because every sane shorter who follows logic is short Tesla now. Okay, the first time around, look at this. Same thing as Meta. Initially we sold, right? This is that weak sell that happened, right? This is the weak sell that happened. This was inverted, and then when the resell happening, it just completely inverted the same move. So now we have two confirmations on short side, right? So there are real shots here in this trade. Right? Day one, day two short, re-entered, right? So this thing that happened here is the squeeze. Today when the morning move happened, it was not squeeze, it was just profit taking. People who shorted Tesla from way back are just taking profits, right? That is the thing. If you want to say squeeze, you want to see it in the tape, right? People are just taking profit, people are covering, and that is the covering move that happened. It's not real buying. But the second time around when we failed again, this is shots re-entering the trade with a higher risk position. And that's why they got their asses handed to them by Trump when he released that information. If this was squeeze, it was a $4 or $5 move. This is a squeeze. It made a move from what, 420 to 440. That's a $20 move. A $20 move is a squeeze, not a $5 move. Does that make sense, guys? Put a yes if you follow. Okay, so there is a difference between what a squeeze is and a squeeze covering is. Okay, the squeeze covering is what's happening in the tape this past morning, and the same thing as yesterday, right, at the morning session, right? A squeeze covering is not going to, it's going to be like pretty light. It's not going to feel as strong. But when something like this happens, it's going to absolutely rip you in the face, and that's exactly what happened here. It's a $20 move. There's nothing doing. It's everyone's panicking and doing and whatnot. Now tomorrow, if we go and take this 440 on Tesla, there's again gap fill, and this is probably going to run 450 by the end of the week. Okay, but just like I said on SPY, if we come back under this 430 again, right? See this VWAP area. I'm going to draw a little box for you guys. Okay, I don't know if it will happen. Okay, I don't know if it will happen, but this area here. Okay. 427, 428 area. If we come under this box again, just like Meta, next logical stop is 425, right? Same concept. Okay, large. You guys can rewatch this video, by the way. Okay, So next logical stop is around 424, 425. If we lose this, another red box, I'll draw this here. Then 420 is going to fail. Okay? I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, this is the area to short. Now, if you do go above breakout, tomorrow is going to be a difficult session because you're going to be trading into overhead supply on a $20 bounce up. But if you do break our highs, you have to long stuff. Okay? Sure, Brett, this is a squeeze. Brett was on the call with me. I was telling him before, after he left on live, I told him, dude, watch us go back to 680. And then he's like, oh my God, Rav, look at this. We came back 680. And then later he's saying, oh, look at this. Now it's a squeeze. That's a funny session. Honestly, like I was like shocked when I saw that news. I was like, oh my God, they're going to screw people over. And they did. Those are the two things, guys. This is the homework for you guys, okay? This next few days, do all your plotting on the 4-hour time frame, right? If you see a level being boxy, up and down, okay? Plot your boxes, wait for clear, confirm, and hold on levels, okay? And the second thing is, if you do find a confirm and hold, make sure there's no above overhead supply and resistance, overhead resistance or demand if it's downside, okay? Now, the same thing I told you on Meta, I'll tell you on Tesla also. So if you're getting an early short, you can short here. Now I'll probably will short here, but I'll know full well that 425 could be a liquidity area. Okay, so 425, there's a bounce here. They could easily 425 bounce and then reclaim 430, and then it will become a squeeze. Okay, so if you want confirmation shots, you want to see 425 loose, right? I'll use today's SPY example for you guys. Now take a look at this here, right? Today in the morning session, I was shorting 680 to 50, 683 area, okay? And then the third trade I did, I stopped out minus 5%. We popped up here and I said, guys, this is the same area I shorted yesterday. If there is a failure here, we can enter the trade here. Now, I didn't know if this was going to be a complete, full inversion trade at that point. Now, I told you, we need to lose, go to the 100-rep chart and look up my messages. I said, we need to lose 683.50. And then 680 to 50. If both of those levels lose, we are going to straight down under 680. Okay. Now, why did I say that? Because this is again logical. This is a logical stop for longs. This is the last line of defense, which is where I shorted here. Okay. So these two areas, once they give it up, again, this was a low liquidity move up. So what goes up can easily come back down quickly. Okay. So this gap area is a higher risk trade. Okay, this gap, these two gaps that you see between the red two boxes is the same two boxes of these two. Okay, but once we get under this, clean move down. All right, same thing here. If we short here, there's a chance we come down here. But look at this. This time it bounced. Okay, but if we get down under 606, clean short down. All right. You cut the trade early, yeah. Who's that, Guillermo? Yeah, sometimes I do cut trades early because I want to keep my risk tight. I want my trade to go quickly. My thing is, if I am wrong about something, if I don't feel good about something, I'll immediately get out and I can re-enter. Who remembers yesterday Meta long when I was signaling? I got in the trade first time, and then I said, guys, I don't like what I'm seeing in the tape. There's something's going to come, some news is going to happen, right? And I sold like I don't know $30 in the green or something like that. And then 5 minutes later, a news did happen, and the market got spooked, and we had big drop. Who remembers that? Put a me if you remember that. Right? When you watch too much stuff, and that's the thing, that's the problem. I watch too many things, right? And I want everything to be perfect, right? I want everything to be perfect. If I don't see something, man, I don't want to fuck around and find out. I'll get out, right? And then what happened? I got confirmation again that this thing was holding 606. Okay, guys, I'm re-entering the trade, and I did. And this thing popped up. Again, I sold early because I wanted to short SPY. I think I did 20%. But this thing ended up doing 40-45%. Okay? So there's nothing wrong in selling. You guys should be more worried about selling for a 50% loss, 60% loss versus getting out of a setup break even or a 5% loss. Okay? Now I'm fine with that because what I'm trying to do is the most difficult thing in the market because I'm literally trying to predict the next 5-10 minute move in the S&P 500 or Meta or Tesla. It's the most impossible thing to do. I'm literally looking at order flow, like charts, whatever, and I'm literally trying to call direction in the market, right? This is the most difficult thing. That's why everyone can't do this, right? This is the most difficult thing in the market. You're literally putting your head down. When the entire market was ripping, I'm saying, guys, SPY is going to close under 680. SPY is going to go to 680. How can I say such a bold thing at the highs when everything is just a green candle? Because I believe in my order flow, right? You can say this, that, but at the end of the day, the move did happen. So what are you going to do about it? You know? So it's hard having conviction, but because you have conviction, that's why you have to trust yourself when you're wrong. Okay. So if I am saying, hey, I'm out, I don't like this, guys, I'm getting out 5% loss, I hope you guys also follow something. Okay. You guys also have your stop loss rules very strict, because when you're wrong, you should be cutting your losses and not marrying into a position. Okay. Those are the two things that I wanted to cover, guys. Just to forward looking, I'm just going to go over just SPY one more time for tomorrow, and then we can close it. Next week I'll cover sizing, and I'll also teach you guys how to trade SPY. Okay, those are the two topics that I'll cover, sizing and SPY. So tomorrow's session, like I said before, today they kind of initially they screwed longs here, right? They did this inversion, and it looked like, to be honest, when I closed my PC, it was around this area. When it broke 680, I called it my day. And then when I saw 678, man, they're going to break low of day. And then they consolidated here, and I popped in the chat. I gave someone a level saying 680, 150 is the last line of defense. They have to fail there. And someone tagged me saying, hey, Andrav, I made money. I made, like, I don't know, for the 20%, 40% or something, right? And I said, hey, like, are you guys still trading? That's crazy, right? And 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, actually, half an hour, 1 hour later, this thing happened, right? This thing is just insane, okay? Right now, after this move here, shots, whoever shorted here, they have covered. Whoever shorted here, they have covered. Whoever is short here, they are sweating tomorrow, okay? Anyone that's shorted in these areas, these guys are sweating, because if 689, 690 breaks, there's no real supply until 692, okay? So tomorrow's open. I don't know, GDP is going to save something tomorrow. I don't know if something's going to happen. We need to get under these boxes. So the boxes are 684.50, 683.50, 682.50. We need to somehow get under these boxes. Again, it's not impossible. Currently SPY is here. We literally need a 0.5% move. Okay, we need a 0.5% move tomorrow to screw longs again. Okay, the current market right now is plus or minus 1%. Today we made a 2% intraday move, up 1%, down 1%, and then back. Actually 3% move today, right? 1%, 1%, 1% plus, 3.5% plus. Okay, so a 0.5% is not out of the question. Okay, so be unbiased tomorrow. Morning opening session, I'll be on live, obviously. So we'll see what the tape looks like. I think the first half an hour will be key. We'll see what kind of session we're going to get. Size down when volatility is like this, and try to hold on to your trades. Don't take by 8 base, 10% trims. Even if you do take trims for cover risk, make sure you're holding some position. Okay, if you can't hold big moves, you will lose out on much. And this is why I try to signal like a lot. I try to signal 2 or 3 trades every day, right? So one trade you make 10%, second trade you make 15%, third trade you make 20%, and eventually if you catch the other trade that does 50%, your P&L will increase. Okay. Before I go, guys, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. Mentorship classes starts tomorrow. If you're interested, apply today, but you'll have to complete all the process by tomorrow afternoon. If you can get in. Otherwise, you'll have to apply again 2-3 months from now. Again, it's not mandatory. If you guys want to, you can. Otherwise, it's fine. And sleep well. Tomorrow's session is going to be insane. Okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.